Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by guest Coach Dylan Cole today to talk about Anthony Richardson's draft stock. We will give our thoughts on Anthony Richardson as we will make player comparisons for him. We will even give our predictions on where Anthony Richardson will be drafted to. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. What are your thoughts on Anthony Richardson? Which NFL QB has similarities to Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson is a freak of nature. I'm a Gator fan, so I've watched a lot of Anthony Richardson this past year. And physical gifts, he's got them everywhere with speed, running ability, jumping ability. He's got highlights of hurdling people, which isn't very common for quarterbacks. He can throw the ball a country mile. He's got an arm that will stretch the field. He's really good off of the play action. There's tremendous upside, but there's a lot of red flags if you're watching him. Some inaccuracies at times. He'll miss throws. He puts too much on the ball, so he lasers throws a real hard ball on a little swing route or something that needs a little bit of touch. Some other things that start coming up. When he starts doing bad, maybe he misses a couple of throws here and there. He starts compounding on those mistakes. You watch the Kentucky game where he's doing really, really good for a first drive, and then he misses a couple throws and he's done for the game. Or the Florida State game where he plays really well in the first half, then he was missing throws, missing easy throws that should be completions and that you have to make in the NFL. I guess my closest comparison would be Cam Newton, just with the size, the running ability, and the cannon for an arm.
Interesting comparisons that you made there and your interesting takes with Anthony Richardson. Here's what I'm going to say about Anthony Richardson. I'm actually pretty high on Anthony Richardson. I like the guy. I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback if he gets the right coaching staff around him. He's a guy that can throw the football 60 yards effortlessly. He's got a cannon for an arm. Arm strength is never going to be a question mark with Anthony Richardson. He's got the size. He's got the speed. And for a guy that's 6'4" and over 230 pounds, he's pretty fast as a runner, and he can definitely power his way through. Of course, you definitely got concerns about his accuracy and his inconsistency, but I think those mistakes can be easily corrected. We've seen guys go to the NFL and they've improved significantly in their skills at the quarterback position. Look no further than Josh Allen. Look no further than even Patrick Mahomes even. If Anthony Richardson can go to the right team, this is a guy that is going to work his tail off, and he's going to be a fantastic quarterback in the National Football League. This guy, he's not necessarily the greatest at reading defenses, but if he puts in the work, and I believe he will, he's going to get better at it because he's got all the physical tools. The concerns that you guys have for Anthony Richardson, it's all in his head. Can he put it all together mentally speaking? And also with college experience as well, one of the main reasons why he doesn't seem to have the college resume that some of those guys have is because of the situation that he was in. Until this past year, he didn't get to play a lot of college football. You know why? Because his head coach, Dan Mullen, at the time, was not a fan of Anthony Richardson. He did not play him a whole ton, so there were a lack of opportunities available for Anthony Richardson. But I've got to ask you this. I know that you made the comparison about Cam Newton, but you've got to tell me what's going to be his ceiling and what's going to be his floor. What are like some other names you were thinking?
Like I said, Cam, there's not much else, maybe a Josh Allen type. I mean, ceiling is just unprecedented because a player with his physical abilities and athleticism at the quarterback position really hasn't been seen a lot. He's got the biggest floor of probably any player in the entire draft. He's, with projections of him going as high as 1, he has started 1 full season as a quarterback, which isn't very common for a number 1 pick. It pretty much doesn't happen. So you're talking a floor that is bigger than potentially could be a huge bust if he goes to a team that doesn't know how to use him or he just doesn't work out as an NFL quarterback, which I think because of his athletic ability may help him out where you'll see him become a Taysom Hill. If he can't play quarterback in the NFL, he'll find a spot on the field because of his athleticism.
I like your player comparisons that you came out with, the Taysom Hill thing. I was actually thinking that his floor could potentially be Tim Tebow. No, I'm not going to do that to him. I'm not going to do that to Anthony Richardson. He's better than that. But I'm going to say that his floor for him is going to be Justin Fields, a bigger version of him. You know why I say that? Because when you look at Anthony Richardson, you see inconsistency and inaccuracy. Those are valid concerns. You also see that he doesn't put a great touch on the football. That's a valid concern. You also see him struggle to hit the intermediate passes. You also see him escape escape pressure. Whenever he sees pressure at the first sight, he doesn't step into his throws. He tries to run around, and sometimes when you do that, you're going to make mistakes. And that's kind of where Justin Fields is right now. So if Anthony Richardson goes to a team that doesn't do a good job developing quarterbacks, he's going to turn out to be a bigger version of Justin Fields. But I think a more realistic comparison for him is that he's going to end up being a bigger version of Jalen Hurts. He's going to be the Jalen Hurts of this draft class. You know why I say that? Because he's going to be a guy that's going to fall down the draft a little bit. He might even be not even in the top 10 pick for a top 10 draft pick. He might be a guy that might slide a bit in the draft, and he's going to work his tail off, and he's going to prove all those people wrong. But at the same time, if you take him with a high pick, he might not necessarily work out if he goes to a team that isn't developing. But I especially like your player comparison with Cam Newton. I feel like that's what everybody says about Anthony Richardson. He's basically Cam-esque because of the fact that he has a big body. He really has a unique body, quite frankly. And if he goes to the NFL, he's going to be one of the heavier quarterbacks in the National Football League. And he's got a cannon for an arm, but the accuracy, that's a big question mark. But I think that can definitely be fixed. It's not like his accuracy issues are beyond horrible, beyond reproach. It's not like that at all. But I've got to ask you this as well. Where do you think he's going to end up going?
I see a couple scenarios. Obviously, the crazy scenario that he goes first overall because, of his potential. Then there's the next scenario of maybe he falls to top 10, 15 range. And then there's another possibility of this common theme that's happened in the past couple times in drafts of a quarterback's overhyped, saying that he's going to be picked high, and then he falls. Think Johnny Manziel when he came out. He was expected to be a top pick, but he fell late into the first round. Malik Willis was expected to be picked high. He didn't even get picked in the first round. I mean, I think it's one of those teams, and you could see one like a Falcons or somebody try to trade up to get ahead of a team that would draft him. We need to get this guy that they feel like, so say the Falcons feel like they need to get up more on maybe if the Colts, if they want to swap and get up to maybe even the number 1 overall pick, because they feel like they need to beat a team to Anthony Richardson. So yeah, it could be a competition. Teams are trying to move up to get him because they don't want him to fall to so-and-so.
I mean, with Anthony Richardson, he's all over the place. I've seen some mocks, they've put him as the number 1 overall pick. I've even seen some other mocks that say he might not even get picked in the top 16, which means that he's going to be a bottom-level first-round pick. He's all over the place. What I'm going to say about Anthony Richardson is that based on how I believe the draft is going to play out, I think he's going to end up getting picked at pick 9 to the Carolina Panthers. I think my Carolina Panthers are going to end up being the team that takes Anthony Richardson, mainly because the 3 quarterbacks that go before him are going to be off the board. I think Bryce Young, he's going to end up getting drafted to the Texans. Let's say CJ Stroud is going to end up going to the Colts, and Will Levis to the Raiders. So when you look at it from that perspective, with the Panthers sitting at pick 9, they're probably going to be sitting up here and say, man, we need a quarterback, and Anthony Richardson is basically the only quarterback that's going to be available. So I think they're going to go ahead and take him. I did think about the Atlanta Falcons taking him, but I think the Falcons are going to go ahead and sign a quarterback. I think they're actually going to go ahead and trade for Lamar Jackson. I think I said that in an earlier video last week for that matter. But when you look at Anthony Richardson, yeah, the guy's a gamer. He's a baller. He can throw it deep. He's got a cannon for an arm. When you do draft prospects at the quarterback position, for me personally, he's my QB2 of this draft class. Only CJ Stroud is better than him. What do you think about that?
Obviously, as we've talked about, that Anthony Richardson's athletic ability pushes him to 2. CJ Stroud I think, is the most pro-ready arm because you watch his tape, accuracy everywhere. He makes NFL throws in his games, and you can see, all right, these throws, this guy looks like he's an NFL prospect. He's got size, and that's what is the concern with Bryce Young is, he's a little bit smaller. So if he doesn't have a real good offensive line, he's got that. Again, he's got to see over the offensive line to be able to read the defense. I think CJ Stroud is a decent option at first, but Bryce Young could be up there as well because, even though I said his size could be a concern, he's been a star player and he showed up in big moments at Alabama and time again would make plays to help them win games.
Valid points that you made there. And final questions for you. Tell me where you got Anthony Richardson ranked in your quarterback room, and what jersey do you see him donning on draft night?
I probably would have him 3rd just because Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are probably ready. They could step on and start. I don't think Anthony Richardson should be a day 1 starter. He might be, but I don't think that's best for him. I think he needs to sit behind somebody. But if you draft somebody as high as he's projected, you're not drafting him to sit behind somebody. You know, I could see him falling to the Panthers. I could also see the Ravens making a push for him because that team, Lamar Jackson's kind of going out the door a little bit as it seems, and that team's built to run the ball a lot. And I could see them doing that. I could also see the Colts because of their offensive coordinator and, you know, what he did with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. And that's the guy in the draft. If you want to go quarterback run, that's the guy. Those are kind of the three options I see.
Fair points that you made there again. I thought you made a lot of great points about that. I definitely did think about the Indianapolis Colts as a team that would take Anthony Richardson, but ultimately I think CJ Stroud is going to be available at pick 4, and I think by that point you go for the surefire star in the National Football League. You got to go for a guy like CJ Stroud at that point. But yeah, Baltimore Ravens, they're definitely a dark horse team to get Anthony Richardson, but I think the Carolina Panthers are going to be the team that ends up getting Anthony Richardson. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, Coach Dylan Cole. Appreciate you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow his Instagram at dcole1535. He's also got a Twitter account at d_breezy15_5. All right, thanks for being on the show, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, man. All right, and shout out to you, by the way. You were going to be the future JV offensive coordinator at high school, so that's what's up. And you definitely know a lot about quarterbacks, so that's what's going on, man. All right, see ya, bro.
All right, take care.
Yup, bye. That was Dylan Cole that you guys just heard. All right, so he's got Anthony Richardson as the QB3 of this draft class. Meanwhile, I got Anthony Richardson as the QB2 of this draft class. Dylan says that he thinks the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Baltimore Ravens are the main contenders to get Anthony Richardson. Meanwhile, I was thinking that the Indianapolis Colts, they could be a contender for Anthony Richardson, but that he will ultimately end up on the Carolina Panthers. So that is why my player comparisons for Anthony Richardson are Cam Newton, Justin Fields, and Jalen Hurts. I ultimately see him going to the Carolina Panthers at pick 9 in the 2023 NFL Draft. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.